Good evening, Los Angeles. Manifold here. I hope everyone's having a phenomenal day today. Recently, the CEO of Arrowhead, the developers of Helldivers 2, I think it was in their Discord server or they tweeted it out, when asked about the potential of a Helldivers 3, coming at some point in the future, Shams Georgiani, I'm sure I probably butchered that name, responded with, "Unfortunately, no product rolls out. We have no plans for Helldivers 3, just Helldivers 2 for as long as it can go. Think RuneScape." Now, I had to look up how long RuneScape has been out because I personally have never played RuneScape. Flame me if you want. Go ahead, I deserve it. But RuneScape came out in 2001, so having a game go on for 24 years would be an incredible feat, by any sort of company. But of course, with a game like Helldivers 2, especially in the last few weeks, raises some concerns in my mind when I hear that they want this game to go on for as long as possible. And I feel like any game, should seek to go on for as long as possible. It shouldn't be like Call of Duty where we have a new one every year. But with the state of the last recent updates, I feel like it would be good to have a discussion about the positives and the benefits and the negatives and the cons of having Helldivers 2 stay in the state that it is now, with its engine and whatnot. So let's talk about the goods and the bads of it. So, of course, the pros, the biggest pro, of course, with this is $40 once. The game's not $70, $60. It's $40 once, and with the release of it on Xbox Series X, it opens up the potential for you and your friends to play, cross-platform no matter what. I feel like this is the biggest benefit that the game has. $40 once, no additional paid DLC that you have to buy, Destiny, in order to experience the full game, and you're able to earn the in-game currency, for free just by playing the game, I think is incredible. That's why I still think Helldivers 2 is the best live service game on the planet right now. I think that Helldivers 2 is a phenomenal game, and the support it has been given has been great, and only being $40 I feel like is relatively affordable. Now I can't speak for everybody, in regard to that. Everybody's financial situation is different. I do know, for all the people that did spend $70 on like Borderlands 3 or, Silent Hill F, maybe you'd be able to spend $40 on Helldivers 2. I don't know. That's up to you guys and what you want, but I think $40 is a extremely reasonable price for a game of this quality. Hours of content, being able to grind this game for so long and still not experience everything and not unlock everything and not fight everything, I think is fantastic. I have 162 hours on the game. I think I'm level 65 or 66. And I have not even unlocked half of the war bonds yet. I haven't gotten to play with half of the weapons. I think it's incredible, to know that there are still weapons out there that I get to play with and that I might enjoy, So that encourages me to play the game more, encourages me to grind super credits more, and unlock more of these war bonds. It's exciting to know that I'll get to play with more weapons in the future on this game and not have to pay for them. I think that that's an incredible benefit that the game has compared to other games. The next benefit that I had, in terms of just sticking with Helldivers 2 is no need to switch over to a new game on new hardware. With the potential next-gen consoles coming out, I know there's been rumors of like the PS6 and the Xbox Z. I know it's not called the Xbox Z. I just made that up. But with the potential of having to switch over to even something like a more powerful graphics card, there wouldn't be an additional barrier to entry if a new game were to come out. If we just stuck with Helldivers 2 right now, you wouldn't have to upgrade to the next-gen console. You wouldn't have to upgrade your graphics card and your CPU. You'd be able to stay on your same rig, no problem at all, and you wouldn't have to spend an extra, potentially, $700-800 on some of the new consoles that are coming out nowadays, and like PCs being like somewhere in like the 800 to 1,000 range. It's insane. And having to buy an updated console to just play one game, I think, is ridiculous. So I think that this is a phenomenal benefit when it comes to keeping Helldivers 2 just Helldivers 2. Now, The cons, and I think that the cons are definitely something that we need to discuss when it comes to this game. This game does have a lot of glaring issues, and it's unfortunate because, like many others, I love this game. I love playing this game, especially with my friends. It's always a fun time. You never have the same experience twice with this game, and I think that makes the game better, bar none to many, but we need to talk about a lot of these glaring issues, and the biggest issue I think that Helldivers 2 has, and a lot of the devs have talked about this as well as people in the community, is the outdated engine. Now, I'm not quite sure what engine Helldivers 2 uses, but I do know that the developers have run into a lot of problems when trying to code things into the engine, such as 6-player squads. Because of how the engine is of the game, they had to make restrictions to things such as 6-player squads, I think bigger planets, more terrains. I mean, to think if these planets could get any bigger. I think the planet size is fine now and the missions are fine now, but a lot of the things that they wanted to include previously, in terms of expanding the scope of this game, including more players in each mission and including more things in this mission, is restricted by the current engine that's in the game. Not having the game, be upgraded, not having a Helldivers 3 is just going to continue to restrict us, from having six or even 5-player squads. And maybe that leaves somebody out in your friend group. Maybe that, restricts you in that regard, which kind of sucks. But, in the same vein, we do have a lot of 4-player games out right now. Does Helldivers necessarily need to have 5 or 6-player squads? I'd say no, but that is just one of the things that they had said that they had tried in the past, and the engine restricted them from doing so. The next biggest thing I would say that is a very glaring negative when it comes to this game is something we see in the game right now, and that's balancing. Weapon balancing, stratagem balancing, armor balancing. Balancing would become a bigger nightmare than it is right now. In the game right now, there are maybe 3 or 4 weapons that are viable on every front that people can use. A Raptor, a crossbow, the Coyote's still pretty good right now. I can't really think of another one that would be good on every single front. There are guns right now that are hardly used and have just been swept by the wayside, either by being nerfed or by being released to just underperform. I mean, SMGs suck. I hardly run into anyone that uses SMGs. I think one of the breaker shotguns are only good. Otherwise, all the other ones suck. Laser weapons are not good, unfortunately. I love laser weapons so much. It's my favorite class in the game. But I can't take half of the laser weapons into, to fight bots. I can't take them to fight bugs. Sure, some of them have, the heat ignite damage, but using an Eruptor versus either using an Eruptor, a crossbow, or the Coyote versus using the Scythe or the Sickle, night and day. Night and day, especially against a Bile Titan or something. I'm not going to be able to take a Bile Titan down with the Scythe. I can kill a Bile Titan with the Coyote, the Eruptor, or the crossbow. Balancing would become even more of a nightmare, and unless they do something to make the balancing a lot better in the current iteration of Helldivers, having this game go on for longer, adding more guns, adding more war bonds, is just going to add more bloat, and it's going to make balancing a nightmare when it comes to this game. A continued nightmare. We might only still see the Eruptor, the crossbow, and maybe one other gun be viable across every front, and have every other gun be more of a niche pick, which I definitely don't want for this game. I want this game to have a ton of weapons to use on every front. I'm not saying make every gun overpowered, but make it usable on every front, in my opinion. Now, of course, we can't talk about this game without talking about the updates that have just broken this game. I currently have not been able to play the game for about 2 weeks now, and I'm not exaggerating. I think it's been about 2 weeks. It was just before they removed the rupture strain. I was stuttering, I was lagging, I was hitching a lot in the game. I can't even get out of my Super Destroyer without my game freezing for 15-20 seconds, and that sucks because I love this game. I love grinding this game. I love playing with my friends, and I can't even enjoy the game right now. You know, I know there's a lot of other people I've seen on Reddit and Twitter that are experiencing the same things, and it's like, if they were to continue to update Helldivers 2, you know, and not release another one, how many more updates are we going to get that's just going to completely break the game? That's just going to completely make the game unplayable for a large majority of your population for weeks at a time. I don't know what needs to change in that regard. I don't know if that's due to the engine or due to what they're putting in, but the fact that these updates are breaking the game so often is concerning. And just pumping more updates into the game, I don't know if that would break the game even more on sequential updates, but they really need to get their ducks in a row when it comes to this. I don't know if completely overhauling the system would be what they need to do or what, but the fact that the game has been so broken for so long and continues to be broken with each update is extremely concerning when we talk about the game continuing to be updated, you know, under the Helldivers 2 engine. The next thing that I would say, which isn't as important in my opinion, this is my opinion, though. I enjoy this portion of the game that I'm going to talk about, but it's not make or break for me. And that's the story or the lore. I feel like if we continue to keep Helldivers 2 the way it is, you know, in the current game, I feel like we would hit a lore point. We would hit a wall when it comes to the lore and the story at some point in time. We've been fighting, you know, 3 factions now for a good amount of time: Illuminate, Terminids, and Automaton. And don't even get me started on how long we've been fighting the Automaton and the Terminids. The Galactic War can only go on for so long, in my opinion, in the game. Now, if it went on for, you know, a long time, maybe like another year, year and a half, 2 years, would I care? Not really. You know, I'm not a huge lore person. But when it comes to the story and the lore, how long exactly can this war continue? How long can the Automaton, the Terminids, and the Illuminate continue to have forces to fight against us, and vice versa? How long are we going to be able to have supplies and forces to fight these factions for the Galactic War? I feel like if the game continues, you know, where it is, maybe they'd be able to add more factions, maybe. But again, when it comes to the engine and how many things you're able to put in this game, maybe they're not able to put in more factions. Maybe maybe they'll hit a hard cap on how many things they're able to add into this game. I feel like that is a really big negative when it comes to the lore people, you know, in this game. Of course, if anybody's super into the lore, let me know if that's, you know, even correct thinking. Maybe that's not correct thinking at all, but that's just something that came to my mind when I saw this tweet. The last negative I have on my list, of course, let me guys know if you have any, you know, pros, cons, anything of the sort when it comes to this topic, is the file size. The file size of the game will become massive. Low taper fade. Would become huge. Look at a game like Call of Duty Warzone. You know, Warzone has been being updated for years now. And I know that they had the new Warzone come out recently, but I think even Warzone now is like 300 gigabytes to have downloaded on your storage space. Helldivers 2 right now for me, I just looked in under my Steam profile, and Helldivers 2 right now for me is 141 gigabytes, which is a pretty good size, you know, for a game that I can't play right now. And with other games taking up more and more storage space, along with this game, how long do we have, you know, if they continue to update this game and whatnot, how long do we have until Helldivers 2 is 200 gigabytes, 300, 400 gigabytes? How long until it takes up half of a 1 terabyte storage, you know, storage space, and you're taking up half of your storage capacity for one game? I feel like that is concerning. I don't know how optimization goes when it comes to that, but I even looked at the breakdown of how much storage space each update has taken under my Steam account, and it looks like each update takes about 400 megabytes, you know, so nothing super crazy, but still 400 megabytes for each update. And if we get an update, you know, pretty regularly, that's another gigabyte. Some of them may even be larger that add more content to them. How long until we have a 300 gigabyte game and it's taking up, you know, a third or even close to half of your storage space? I don't think that's good for a game, especially a game, like I said, that I've harked on already, a game that I can't play for weeks at a time. You know, I think that that's absurd. And I could see that happening very quickly with this game. And it's unfortunate because I think this game is phenomenal. It is honestly the best live service game I've ever played. If it could go on forever, I absolutely want it to go on forever. I feel like that's beneficial for the community, and it can only be good, you know, when it comes to dev time and whatnot, because you don't have to work on, you know, coding a new engine or, Lord forbid, going to Unreal Engine 5. But the concerns in my mind right now need to be discussed, and I'm sure the devs are already talking about this and thinking about this, but I just wanted to make a video talking about it real quick and just raising some of my concerns. Guys, let me know what your thoughts are down below in the comments. I want to know if this is concerning to you, if you are full gung-ho for this game going on for as long as possible, full against it, or somewhere in the middle like I am. Or I'm kind of leaning more toward the negative of it until they can fix the game, you know, currently. With the size space that we have right now. But everybody, thank you so much for tuning in today. I really, really appreciate your guys' time. I hope you guys stay hydrated. Hope you guys stay healthy and safe. And I hope you guys have a phenomenal, phenomenal rest of your day. Take care, everybody.